Okay, so to continue our coverage over Superboy and Teen Titans in the New 52, we actually pick up with Superboy. Now, this is not our original New 52 Superboy. This is a different version. What I mean is this right here. So, in the beginning of the New 52, we had Kon-El, a clone of somebody who has Superman powers. Now, we were left to believe that Kon-El was a clone of Superman. And so throughout the early days of the New 52, we were left to believe that. But we come to find out Kon-El, the first Superboy, was not a clone of Superman. Now, this is where things get even crazier, because Kon-El is a clone, but he is a clone of another Superboy, and his name is John. Now, John is an evil Superboy from an alternate timeline, an alternate future, where John, the evil Superboy, had killed all metahumans on Earth. And the reason why? Because he felt like metahumans were kind of not letting humans have free will. They were basically slaves to metahumans. And so that is why John killed off every single metahuman in his future. And so Kon-El is a clone of John. Now, this is where things get crazier, because remember, in our last storyline for Kon-El, he was in Krypton Returns, a crossover event between Superman, Supergirl, and Superboy. Now, with that crossover event, right before it, him and the Teen Titans had traveled to John, the evil Superboy's time, and John and Kon fought against each other. Kon defeated John, but right when Kon was about to kill off John, Kon was taken away from that timeline into the Krypton Returns crossover event. And so with that, John was just left there badly beaten. Now, the Teen Titans found John, but they believe John is Kon-El, because John looks just like Kon-El. But either way, the Teen Titans then traveled over to Kid Flash timeline, the future where he's from. And so with that, they don't have no idea that they have an evil Superboy. In their minds, they have a good one. And so with that, we pick up with John right now having some kind of nightmare, because after the Teen Titans had arrived in the future, they basically took John into a hospital so he could recover after getting his butt whooped by Kon-El. Now, John, like I said, is having a nightmare because another metahuman is trying to contact him to talk to him about something very important. Now, when John wakes up from his nightmare, he is confronted by Wonder Girl, because we have to remember, her and the rest of the Teen Titans, they believe that John is Kon-El, their dear old friend Superboy from their timeline. They have no idea that they have an evil version of Superboy. But either way though, right now you have Wonder Girl believing that she has Kon-El in front of her, because Kon-El was her boyfriend. She was dating Kon-El. And so when she sees John, she thinks it's Kon-El, but in reality it's John. Now she is attacked by John because John wants to kill her. And the reason why? Because John killed every single metahuman in his timeline. And so when he sees Wonder Girl, he's like, yep, you gotta die. I have to kill you too, because you are a meta-human. Now here's the problem though. John can't do it. And the reason why? Because John is not back at full strength. Because when he lost to Kon-El in a previous story, he was badly beaten. I mean, badly beaten. And so with that, he's not at full strength. Wonder Girl was able to fight back against him. Now, right after that, he realized he needs a new plan. So what did he do? He pretends that he is Kon-El, and he tells Wonder Girl he has no idea why he attacked her. Maybe something is wrong with his mind, but he feels better. And so now his goal is to pretend to be Kon-El to the rest of the Teen Titans until he's back at full strength. And once he is, he will kill every single member of the Teen Titans. But either way though, that is the moment he passes out because he's still badly injured. Yes, he did recover some, but not a lot. And so he passes out right after trying to fight against Wonder Girl. Now, when John wakes up, he is confronted by Wonder Girl and the rest of the Teen Titans, who all believe that he is Kon-El. Now, there is a doctor there as well, and you have the doctor say, hey man, listen, we were able to get a sample from you. Now our next goal is to test the sample to see what is wrong with you. Why aren't you able to fully recover? Now John freaks out because he knows if they run that test, the Teen Titans and the Doctor are going to learn that he is not Kon-El, that he is John. And that's the problem because he's not at full strength. And with him not being at full strength, the Teen Titans could easily stop him. And so with that, he uses his powers in a way to destroy any kind of device in the room that could possibly tell the doctors and the Teen Titans who he is. Now, when those machine breaks, they're kind of like, you know what? We'll let you rest. We'll come back later with some better technology to run our tests to figure out what is wrong with you. And so every single person leaves. But before everybody leaves, that same voice that came from his nightmare contacts him again and says, you cannot trust Raven because with her powers, she'll be able to figure out that you are not Kon-El, that you are John, and she will blow your cover in a heartbeat. And so now John has to worry about something else. Now, once you have John wake up, John realized that he needs to go down to the lab and find that sample and get rid of it. Because if he does it, if they run a test on his sample, they're going to learn that he's not Kon-El, that he is John. And so you have John use his powers as a way to find the lab. Now, when he does find the lab, of course, he does run into a bunch of security forces and of course the doctor from earlier, because apparently the doctor also has powers. Now, with that being said, when he kills the doctor, we do learn something new about him. And this is what it is. Apparently, when John kills a meta-human, he's able to absorb their energy. And when he does, he gets stronger. And so with him getting stronger, he's all like, yes, sooner or later, I'll be strong enough to actually get rid of the Teen Titans. Now, with that being said though, you did have John ask computer to tell him a little bit more about what they learned from his sample, where of course, John finds out that his father is Superman. But the big question is though, who is his mother? Who did Superman have John with? Now, here comes the big thing though. The computer can't tell him because apparently there's too many different kinds of DNA strands from different women to basically say who is your actual mother. That right there is very huge to say right now. Now, with the Teen Titans and John being far in the future, being in Kid Flash future, you do have John ask, what happened to Kon-El? And you have the computer say that Kon-El will come back. But when he does come back, he won't come back to the present day. He'll come back even farther in the future. And in that future right there, he will basically form the Legion of Superheroes. And that right there is very, very huge. And of course, you have John kind of like, well, I want to stop that from happening. So of course, what can I do in this timeline to prevent that from happening? Now, when we jump into Superboy number 27, we pick up with John right now being mind attacked. And he's being mind attacked by the same person who gave him that nightmare at the very beginning of our video, but at the same time, the same one who warned him about Raven, how Raven is going to learn that John is not Kon-El. But either way, that same person is right now attacking John's mind. On top of that, she's able to mind control other people around John and actually make them attack him. And so right now, John is in danger. He's basically fighting two fronts, a bunch of people who are attacking him. And because he's not at full strength, he can't do much to that crowd. On top of that, he's being mind attacked as well. Now, we do get a quick glance that apparently John was able to free this person from her container, or he was going to free her from a container. But we have no idea if he did or not. But either way, right now, you have her attacking her mind, not her mind, his mind. Now, luckily for John, somebody does come in right before you have this new character make John shoot himself in the head. That person to save him is Raven. Because remember, like I said earlier, Raven had an idea or could tell that John is not Kon-El. And so with that, Raven comes in and takes John somewhere far away from the reaches of that girl who has mind control powers. Now, once you have Raven take Superboy somewhere else, they do have a conversation in a way. At first, you do have Superboy, John, want to kill Raven because again, Raven is a meta-human. But on top of that right there, he's afraid that Raven is going to warn the rest of the Teen Titans, and that could possibly ruin his plans because again, he's not at full strength. But that is the moment you have Raven say, stop. I'm on your side. Like, I want to get rid of the Teen Titans, but I have plans for our friends down the road. Because remember, Raven did join the Teen Titans, but it did seem like maybe, just maybe, Raven is secretly a double agent, still helping her father and getting the world ready for him to take over. But either way, you do have Raven say, listen, you may think you could hurt me, but you can't hurt me. On top of that, you may not hurt our friends because I want to do something to our friends down the road. And so is Raven saying, back off. I saved you and I'm going to keep your secret, but we should work together instead against one another. So when you're ready to listen to me, contact me, but I am going to leave for now. Now, you do have Superboy actually go back to that lab where he did find that girl, the one that was attacking his mind. Because remember, there was one panel that shows us that he did free her or possibly not free her. We have no idea. But when he goes back to that lab, he does find her again. And of course, she's still in that container. And she should be in stasis or knocked out, one of the two. But that is the moment she wakes up. And the reason why? Because she can read his mind. She can feel his mind. She can feel his emotions. And that is the moment she breaks out. Now, we know her name now, and her name is Skits. And honestly, she's not an important character. Matter of fact, after this video and the next one we do for Superboy, she will no longer be around in DC Comics. But either way though, you do have Skits say, with her being able to read Superboy's mind again and breaking free, they are now connected. And so she is going to find him and hopefully try to fight him and gain more energy from him. Now, John's next goal is to go after Raven, to stop her, because he is afraid that Raven is going to tell the rest of the Teen Titans who he is. And so his goal is to find her. But when he does find her and begin the process of flying over to her, well, that is the moment he's attacked by Skits once again, because Skits wants to absorb his energy, absorb his emotions. She feeds off his emotions. And so they do begin to fight. The problem is though, Skits does not have any powers that could really help her in a hand-to-hand combat. And so with that, you have Superboy, John, being able to actually take her down. And right when it seems like he's about to kill her, that is the moment she says, "You can't kill me." And the reason why she says that is because her mind and John's mind are connected to one another. And with their minds being connected, she was able to say, listen, I know about your timeline. I know that in your time you killed metahumans because humans were slaves to metahumans in a way. They no longer had a free will. And with that, you killed metahumans, but you would never kill a regular human. And that's the moment you have John kind of like, what do you mean? And you have Skits say, I'm not a metahuman. I'm a regular human. I was a regular human forced to turn into a metahuman to fight against metahumans across the world because a scientific group took me and a bunch of other people and tried to turn us into metahumans. Most of us died, but some of us lived. And the ones who lived, who were turned into metahumans, when they fought against metahumans, their lives were in danger. But when they had some downtime and think they could have a normal life, regular humans were scared of them as well. Because again, now they were metahumans. They were forced to turn into metahumans. Now, while you have John feel bad for Skits, we do see Raven actually watching over Superboy and Skits. And apparently, Raven planned all of this. She planned for John to find Skits, to release her. She planned everything that happened so far in the last chapter and this chapter as well. And apparently, Raven has more plans for John down the road. The question is though, what are those plans? Now, when we jump into Superboy number 28, we actually do pick up with the character known as Harvest. Now, we have not seen Harvest in a long time, but we have talked about him a lot of times in our videos. Now, with that being said, when it comes to Harvest, Harvest is a character from the same timeline that John is from. And now, matter of fact, he looks at John as his son because John and Harvest both feel the same way about metahumans, that metahumans should no longer be around because when they are, humans do not have free will. Now, with that being said though, Harvest also went back in time to kind of form his own army of metahumans because apparently in his timeline and John's timeline, there was a huge battle between regular humans and metahumans. And so Harvest went back in time to build an army of metahumans to take back to his time to stop the Great War or to win the Great War. And so with that being said though, Harvest also can feel his son John somewhere in the time stream. And so with that, Harvest says it's time to bring my son back home, back to this time or possibly our time, but he's in the wrong time at the moment. Now, we do jump back over to the conversation between Superboy and Skits, where you have Skits explain to Superboy that she was not the only one to be kidnapped at a young age. Now, she was kidnapped at a baby. Other people were kidnapped in different points of their lives and being forced to turn into some kind of metahuman, regular human hybrid. Now, you do have Skits say when she was kidnapped, she was only a baby. And so she was only kept in that container for 17 years. But for other people, they could have been born before her and thrown into those stasis much longer than her. And so right now, as her saying, there are a lot of us who were taken over time and forced to turn into metahumans. Most of us have died, but some of us have lived. Now, while they're having this conversation, Raven is listening in because remember, Raven had been apparently plotting behind the scenes. She wanted Superboy and Skits to meet. And so with that, she's making sure her plan is going to work out. Her plan is going to lead to her actually achieving something. Now, you do have Skits explain a little bit more about what happened in her timeline, what led to the Great War. And what you had Skits say was, at first, when metahumans first appeared, metahumans were actually helping out the Earth, protecting the Earth, which was a great thing. But then, as time went on, metahumans began to change for the worse. And then humans no longer had free will. we were under their control. But humans could not stand down. They wanted to fight back. And so, of course, you had humans travel to different planets across the universe because their goal was to create their own meta-humans. But the big question was, though, how? And so what they did was they went to different planets across the universe, met aliens. And when the aliens learned that those humans were from Earth, these aliens told those humans that they were also scared that the meta-humans of Earth could possibly leave Earth and go to different planets across the universe and then take over those planets as well. And so when the regular humans and the aliens met with one another, they came up with a new plan. Hybrids, humans, aliens. So that the DNA that Skits has is half human, half alien. They went to different planets across the universe to collect different kinds of alien DNAs because each alien had their own kinds of powers. And so that is how the different new versions of metahumans like Skits were made. Now, with that being said, though, you have Skits say a lot of us couldn't even control our powers when we were born or taken away and given our powers. And so her first example is herself. She said as soon as she was born, her powers went crazy. Her mind control and feeding off emotions and energy, it went crazy. And so with that, she kept killing soldiers left and right. She killed her own mother until they were able to build some kind of armor suit to take her and lock her away. And so that is the origin of Skits and the rest of the meta-humans who were taken away by the humans as a way to fight against meta-humans. Now, of course, you do have Skits want to free two other people that she got to know over time. But of course, when she does, and Superboy actually helps her to free those people, that is the moment you have a bunch of security guards run in and begin the process of wanting to attack them. Now, of course, when it comes to Skits, she wants to kill these guards because these guards are part of the organization that changed her life, that forced her to become the monster that she thinks she is. And so with that being said, though, it's her saying, let's kill him. But for Superboy, John, he's like, no, we can't kill. Now, he gives her a different reason, but the real reason why they cannot kill, because if they do, that will lead to word getting back to the Teen Titans. And if word gets back to the Teen Titans, they're going to know that John is not Kon-El. And when the Teen Titans come together, they could possibly easily defeat John. And so it's John trying to keep his cover and telling Skits, listen, we can kill later, but for right now, I'm going to need you to go ahead, grab your friend, I'll grab one friend over here, and we got to leave now. And so, of course, they do leave. Now, you do have Superboy and Skits beginning the process of taking their two new friends over to a mountain base that apparently Superboy has now. But either way, though, on the way there, you do have Raven actually contact Superboy and tells him, hey man, listen, you need to come back to the hospital. And the reason why, because remember, except Raven, the rest of the Teen Titans, they still believe that John is Kon-El, their dear old friend. They have no idea that they have the evil Superboy from a different timeline. And so with that, if John wants to keep his cover, the last time the Teen Titans saw him was in a hospital bed. And so he needs to go back in there before they walk in and possibly figure out that Superboy is not their Superboy. And so with that, you actually have John getting back to the hospital in time before the Teen Titans walk in to see that he was okay. Now, you do have Superboy actually go meet up with the rest of the gang, so like Skits and her two other friends. But when they do meet up, you then have Superboy wonder what is their next plan. And matter of fact, you have Skits ask, hey, what is our next plan? Like, what are we going to do next? And that is the moment you have Skits say, we need to go around and free the others to build up an army. Because if we are going to get revenge against the people who did this to us, we have to have an army because we're just 4 guys going up against an army. And so we need to go around and free the others. Now, of course, John, he does agree, but he then says, wait a second, we need more than just our powers. We need weapons. And so what he does next is him and his new team, they go to a nearby station. And when they do, they attack that station. They kill humans left and right. But their main goal is 2 things. 1, get word out that right now the humans who were forced to turn into metahumans are coming back. Number 2, they got weapons. And so now their next goal is to get an army. You have weapons, but you need an army to use those weapons. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here. I'll see y'all next time. Later.